So I want to talk about John Wick, but later. Let's hold on. I know I'm jumping down your throat here with John Wick, but let's take one step back, and I need to ask you some stuff because now I'll give you some background, and you as in the listener, like, you already know this, Oren, but
Yeah.
I have a brain with holes in it because of horrible concussions. It don't play high school football, guys. Just don't do it.
Yeah, not
Um,
recommended.
And from that, and I don't think this is 100% because of that, but the brain chemistry probably doesn't help with it. But working in retail for as long as I did, which was like, because my family owned the business, so I was working there like before, like when I was 10,
You were born
all the
in the
way up.
store, bro.
I was born in the store. Literally, everyone will tell that story. So I have, and I don't know, and no, it is true, but I don't know how bad it is for like people who actually have this problem. But I got a fMRI and then like an analysis on my brain, and they told me I have like a level of PTSD, which like shows itself as like hypervigilance, where I'm just super aware of everything in my environment. Now, I'm assuming someone who has real, no, I mean real PTSD, quote unquote, but like an army person has it significantly worse, where it's like a loud crash or some you don't know what will set them off. Whereas like me, it's probably just like I see a person who needs help with a hardware item, and I go, no, please don't. So I think there's layers to it, but the hypervigilance is real. But I don't think it's as bad as like it sounds, because it's just me going like, who's in the store, what's going on, who's helping who. It's just keeping everything in like in front of me. You know what I mean? So
I get what you're saying, and I've seen what you're talking about as far as when we were in when we were in the store, and I always chalked it up to you're just tired of people being stupid and you want the dumb people to get out of your store as quickly as possible. And what I
and
mean by
that's a
that,
layer of it.
yeah, where it's just like fuck, dude, like here, do this, get out.
Go.
It's kind of on a level of mansplaining, where it's just like, here, I'm here to solve your problem because you're too stupid. Sorry if that,
Yes.
yeah, man. But I mean, ultimately, yeah, because I mean, regardless of the holes in your brain, you're a very intelligent person. It hasn't seemed to have
Well, thank you.
affected. Yeah, well, you worked really hard at it, and
Yes.
no, but it's I don't know about I don't know how it would be PTSD, because I mean,
Yeah.
it's a spectrum. Like
Yes.
everything is a spectrum. Um, I've
I
got my
definitely did not take it like as like fucking like Bible verses. Like, when that's a bad way to put it. I don't know why. I don't believe in the Bible verses as like real, but like when they're telling me, they're like, okay, look at how your brain works like this. This is how like a person with PTSD works. And I'm like, I don't, is that, are we
oh,
advanced enough in like technology for them to know that? I don't think
so
so.
your brain is showing signs of somebody who has PTSD. Like it's similar.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't necessarily have it. You just have
Electrical symptoms.
right.
The electrical signals, when because they just scanned your brain, they're like, okay, this is a normal person, they have like this, and
See,
they have a lot of activity in this lobe and this lobe, and mine's like completely different from like the average one. And the hole I'm talking about is where there's a lot of activity for, I guess, most people in the front of the brain. There's just like a black hole and then a tiny other one, but
see,
there's a big one right in the front, and they're like that, and I'm like, is that bad? And they're like, well, it's not great, but I've seen worse, and I'm like, oh, okay. But
I feel like
they're
that.
telling me that this is the brain of like a person with PTSD, and I'm like,
But
okay, I
my thing is
guess.
now it's like, first of all, MRIs. How long have MRIs been around for? Since like the 80s, maybe. I
Yes,
think
but this is the
so.
fMRI where I have to take
Right.
the shit. But
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead,
No.
continue.
And MRIs having. So I worked in radiology for a little bit. So when they give you the
That's
contrast,
why I wanted to ask. Yeah.
yeah, it enhances the image. I'm not a tech, but I have a very I know more than the layman. Um, so the contrast that they give you just enhances the image. It's like adding a highlighter to something, essentially. Because and
Hmm.
it depends on the machine and a lot of things like that. Like there's 1.5T, 3T, and up. So
Hmm.
yours is probably like a 3T, which is a really good image for the brain. It shows pretty much everything. Now,
Yes.
the thing that I'm thinking is like when they're describing your brain, I'm willing to bet, and please don't take this as you not being special, because you are.
Hmm.
I'm willing to bet
Oh,
a lot of people have that now, especially because in our age group, it's just like, well, we've experienced the mental health crisis.
true.
Like our brains, and I played football too, and I bet
Hmm.
if I had a functional and I got hit plenty of times, I remember none of my concussions. Yeah.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I
I
mean?
have no
Like, yeah,
recollection of my
yeah. I
concussions
mean,
at all.
and I've had, but I have had more than a handful. Now, it was short term, over 4 years. Actually 3 years
Hmm.
because that first year I didn't play. But anyway, the the damage to our brains, even for those who haven't played football, is probably along the same lines as far as functionality goes, where their
Hmm.
brain is being triggered in a similar manner to that somebody who's got PTSD for whatever reason. So
Yes, yes.
so it's more of how the brain reacts, the fight or flight thing. Brain reacts similar when you're dealing with stupid people in your store as opposed to a soldier in Iraq.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, so it's to say that it is PTSD. And I'm not saying that, I mean, we've all got it to a degree, but to say that it's
Mhm.
PTSD on their part, I think is irresponsible.
I think so too. That's why I was like, I don't know if this is the proper. You're not
No, because
classifying this
well, that's the thing.
properly.
They don't know how to explain it because they're seeing it and they're like, "Hey, we see," because we're so limited with the number of functional MRIs that are taken. Like, if everybody got a functional MRI,
That's
then
what
you
I'm
have a
saying.
better idea of it, obviously, right? But they're
Exactly.
only focused on the people who have problems. So
Hmm.
up until recently, or up until you, let's just say you, they were probably
Yeah.
studying people who did have PTSD, like diagnosed PTSD from a psychiatrist. So then they
Yes.
see that with yours, so they're just going off of previous information, like, oh, then he must have it as well, or something along those lines. But it can
And
be
also,
something completely different.
and it probably is, but I also the reason I didn't believe it to well, not believe it, but like to a degree was like I don't know about this is that they want to sell me something. They wanted to sell me like brain medication, like supplements. You know what I mean? So you can't be selling that to a healthy brain person. So they got to have a problem for them to solve. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
but brain degradation. I mean, is it? It's genetic. Like your family, you got a
mhm.
family of people who with, like in my family. Hopefully, I don't get it, but luckily, I don't believe anybody in my family had any kind of Alzheimer's, dementia, anything like that. Um,
My grandpa had the big D
the big D, yeah, and that
and
shit sucks.
dementia. So it does suck. So I was like, it could definitely, and that's kind of why I've had like my thoughts of
Well,
like, oh, I gotta not let myself go crazy before
it's like what Chris
have this
Hemsworth,
family
because
together.
Chris Hemsworth,
Yes, yes.
yeah, he got he's predisposed to, is it dementia or Alzheimer's? I can't remember which one it is,
I can't
but
remember, but he's definitely working towards to prevent it. Yeah.
exactly. And there's things that you can do, and you should just do it anyway, regardless of the fact if you got a strong brain or not. But there's other things that you do too. It's about keeping your brain active. Like I've been sitting around for the past 7 months like a lump of shit, and no, for real. And then I started reading, and just like and then I started studying for this EKG program that I'm doing, and I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, dude, like I notice a difference as far as my cognitive abilities. They've definitely
I
increased
mean,
as
I've
I
noticed a
started.
difference with doing just jujitsu, like a physical
Yeah,
to
yeah, that too. No,
mental
exactly.
cognition.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you got to think in jiu-jitsu. You don't just
Oh,
go
you
out there.
do. It
Yeah, you
sucks
don't.
that
Yeah, it's
but you
like
really do.
chess. And then you're also not
It is
only
really like chess.
yeah,
It's
not only
physical chess. Yeah.
you're not even thinking about your next move. You're thinking about like I got to conserve energy because this guy's been on top of me for 20 minutes and I'm
And there
tired.
is a lot of the way they explain jujitsu when you're learning it. Like if you're learning a move, it's usually like this move will this the person will probably do either this or this. If they do this, then you're gonna have to do
Right.
something like this. And so then you'll start to then that's how like the top belts play you. They like start messing with like they pull your ankle or they pull your wrist or they grab your collar and then you react to that and then they've already planned ahead for your reaction to then get you in something else. So it is like physical chess and it has changed in first of all my cardio is through the roof now. But
I bet.
otherwise, like mentally, I'm like, for the first time I was rolling, which is, doing ecstasy at the gym.
Yeah.
But No, it's when we were the first time I had somebody like on top of me, I had like a serious like flight or fight, like and I wanted to like punch this guy. Like I was like, get the fuck off me, I
Yeah,
will
it's
fucking kill you.
unnatural to have
But
somebody
it's not
attack you.
natural, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So it took a while. I had to laugh that off several times before I'm finally like chill with it. And I'm sure that if I go into like full tournament mode, like live action, I'll get it again to a degree. So I'm gonna have to work at it. But now that I know the people and like everyone's chill, I don't get it anymore. But I'm assuming that because it's a fight. You're in a fight
no,
with somebody.
exactly.
Like that's
But
not even the joke.
everybody,
Like
but all the great fighters will tell you that the calmer you are, the better you're going to do.
exactly. And like your breath, like when I was just freaking out, it's just and then the guy on top of me be like, "Hey dude, you got to relax or else you're gonna." And I'm like, "I know, dude." And so now I'm actually pretty good at breathing and keep it because what I did was I sought it out. I was like, "Hey, start on mount with me. I want to figure out how to get out of mount."
Right.
So then I had to like figure, keep my breathing right and then figure all that shit out. So it it changes you mentally. So I can only imagine that because I even to a degree was thinking about this with like video games because when I play a new game, I have to learn like a whole new, like, especially fighting games. I love fighting games and I have to learn new combos, new systems of how to like engage with the other player, what works and what doesn't work. Now, admittedly, frame data is just frame data, so I already know what that is. Like you just figured that out naturally. But in terms of like the physicality of it, like doing the combos, I do feel like there's a level of neuroplasticity that you have to develop to learn these combos. Because at some point
Yeah.
they become second nature. While in the beginning they're like, how the fuck am I gonna do a half circle to this and then do this combo and keep this in my mind? So, but that might not be as hard as I think it is in terms of
No,
like
dude,
learning a
nobody
new
can.
language.
No bullshit. Nobody could just pick up a fucking some sticks and learn it that quickly. Like I look at it, I'll compare that to when when I was a kid and my dad bought like Nintendo for us, but he
Some
grew
of
up.
the hardest games of all time, by the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But he played them and he was crushing it. You know what I mean? But the minute PlayStation came out, obviously he's older and he doesn't play as much and whatever he's working. But I remember I think it was probably PlayStation 3. I stuck the sticks in his hand for Call of Duty. Forget about it. Like he's just like,
He's like, what the fuck is
yeah,
this?
it's like he's looking up and running, and he's just looking at the sky because he doesn't. He keeps he's holding the joy. He's like, why are there two joysticks? What is this? So
Oh
it's
man,
oh yeah, no,
that's
there's
funny.
a definite skill, and and it's not even necessarily a language. It's more like it really is. What is it? Eye hand coordination. I mean,
Yeah, oh, definitely, definitely.
so to a smaller extent, it's not baseball, but
No,
what
no,
made you
no,
bring
no.
up the MRI? Where did that all come from? We kind of just went.
So, I brought that up because I went to the city with I went to Boston and there was a level of comfort I had being in the city where I was like, well, first of all, I did notice my because I went to I think it's called the Common, like there's a big like square
Yeah,
of
Boston
of
Common.
of I think that's it. It is it.
Yeah.
But I was just walking around the park, and admittedly, I was clocking most people because, like, and this is where I think of my hypervigilance. I'm like, it's like threat assessment. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, that's a homeless person. They're cool though. That's a non crazy homeless person. This guy might be a little. I might not. This might be a problem. Da 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 da. People flying around on bikes and stuff like that. But that wasn't the worst one. So because I actually liked it. Like I would walk around
Oh,
Sacramento,
Boston's
and
a
I
great.
mean
Yeah,
that's 1,000 times worse. So
yeah.
Boston was not that bad. So I went to a restaurant and I'm sitting down and I'm clocking everybody. Obviously, guy comes in and he sits down in the corner and he starts walking around like, and then he walks past me like very like as close as the waiter would get to me. You know what I mean? Like and he's walking around just like on his phone or he wasn't even on his phone, he was on something that was like bigger like a handheld of some sort that was bigger and in my mind, I was like locked onto this dude. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Is he skimming cards or something like that? Because that used to be a thing you would do. You'd sit in your car when like RFIDs became a thing,
Oh,
and
right.
you would pick up and you would steal card numbers. But I don't know if that's even a thing these days. But like my old like yeah, the hyper vigilance is the best way I could put it, was
Well,
like locked on. And I was like, why the fuck is this guy walking by me? What does he want? If he walks by me again, I will fucking kill him. And he like, I didn't think he was gonna kill him, but I was definitely gonna be like, what are you doing? Like, go sit down, you fucking asshole. It was very strange, but then that was the thing. I was like, man, I walked into this restaurant and I made sure I knew where like everybody was and what was going on, where the exits are and shit. And I'm like, oh man, dude, maybe my hypervigilance is a little bit worse than I think it is.
no,
But now,
man.
admittedly, I haven't been in the city for a while, so it could have
True.
just been like bringing it back type thing.
No, and that's probably part of it for sure. It's just also you're in a new place you don't know, and also, I
Exactly.
mean, social media and media in general kind of puts us on alert. Like, because I mean, you look at these assholes who just walk up and punch people in the face, but
True.
at
True.
the same
100%.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, but at the same time, you know, I'm hearing what you're saying here as far as this dude just walking around. It's like, dude, what are you fucking doing? Like, not only
Okay,
is
thank
it
you.
just,
I've
yeah,
told several people about this, but no one has been like, oh, oh. So I was with my mom.
that's
She's like,
odd
I didn't even
behavior.
notice him. I'm like, "Pfft, well, you're fucking, come on, pay attention.
Well,
But it
you're
is
mo-
odd behavior. You wouldn't walk around a restaurant like you're walking around the fucking park. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't do that. That's rude.
yeah, no,
There's not
it's
that
just
much room between the tables.
no, it's just odd. It's just and it's odd behavior. God knows that what the guy's problem is if he has one. It could be artistic or you know something mentally wrong.
Artistic or autistic, man.
It's the same thing.
This dude looked like he, yeah, fair enough.
No,
But
but no, but I
and
mean,
then
like
in
who knows what's going on in his brain?
true,
He could have
true.
had a head injury. He could have be OCD. No, seriously, he could have he could have
He could
had
be. You're right.
something.
You're right.
Yeah, but at the same time, you still, regardless, even if you know, it's like, all right, the dude's had a head injury. Let's say you still don't know how he's going to react. But and also,
Yes.
it is uncomfortable. You're trying to sit down. It's a sit down meal. The only people who should be
Yes.
walking around even like that are the service staff.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what and that's what I was gonna. I was like, okay, how do I aggressively tell this guy to fuck off without? I was gonna be like, hey, you gonna get me a water? Or you gonna sit the fuck down and you know what I mean? I was gonna play that game, but
Yeah. Hey, asshole, getting your
the,
steps in.
I was definitely gonna go that route. But he noticed me, like, notice him hard because I like fucking eyeballed him the second time he like walked by me. And then he kind of was like, and he sat back down. But then, another person at a different table got up and went to like the corner where there weren't people at the two tables, and there was like a little opening, and he was like talking on the phone. And I almost said something to that guy too. I'd be like, bro, go the fuck outside. What are you doing? So now I will say to paint the picture a little bit more, it was a closed, completely closed, by the way, except for like one little window area, outdoor area. So
It
I don't know
doesn't
if that
matter,
changes
man. It's
anything.
just like
It doesn't
when you.
matter to me. There's tables everywhere.
My thing is when you're in a, depending on the setting. Like if you're in a bar, people are gonna walk around fine. You're in,
That's fine.
you're in a TGI Fridays. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's kind of like a bar, but with food. You know what I mean? Like something casual, okay. But if you're sitting down at a restaurant that's like pretty chill, it's a nice environment.
It was a nice restaurant. It was a
Yeah,
nice restaurant.
you
I
don't.
can't remember the name of it though, but I do. It was nice.
Well, regardless, like read the room is what I'm saying. And even if you have a bit of, if you're a little hinky in the head, like, no, but you know what I mean. It's just like odd behavior is something to be aware of because you don't know what that person's going to do. They could be doing exactly what you think they're doing.
That's what
Although the chances
and yeah,
are significantly lower. Like,
true.
but you know what? It's like who knows? Maybe he's just walking around looking for somebody who's not you, noticing him, and he's going to attack. It could happen.
See, that's I keep that, and maybe it is a level of like we have been fucking through the ringer, and now we know like our government's been like kind of lying to us about it, all that shit for these past like 50 years.
But I mean, if like,
But
let's say
I mean, it might be.
it could be
Yeah, go ahead.
situational too. Like if you're,
It's
what is it?
definitely
If
situational.
you weren't with your mom, like if it was just us, we'd both be like, "What is this dude's problem?" You know,
Oh yeah, we'd be
we
like, "Fuck this
probably
guy.
wouldn't
Who's this
be.
guy?"
But if I'm there with, my niece and her mom, like I'm gonna be
Oh,
on,
completely different.
yeah, like what the fuck is up with this guy? Like
Yeah,
it's completely different thing for sure. So no, I think your instincts were fair
proper.
and natural and proper. Yeah, fuck that guy. Sit down and shut up. Eat
See,
your
and I don't. Would you notice somebody with cauliflower ear too? Like you would
not like
let's
right
pretend you
away.
didn't. Hold on. Okay, and that's fair. But you would notice his ears are fucked up, right? Like, I mean, just noticing things in general. If I was looking at somebody and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with his ears?" You know what I mean? Like, I would, if I didn't know what cauliflower was, I'd still have that thought. You know what I mean?
I feel like, well, yeah, but I feel like right now for you, since you're into the MMA and you're into
True, true.
the fighting, that's something you notice. It's like, you're like, oh, that
But
guy,
it's
that,
gross. Like cauliflower looks fucked up. I would
oh,
feel like you would
I
notice
can't
that.
believe you can hear. It's like,
That's what I'm saying. That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
like,
So that's why I was like telling him. I was like, oh, because I was like, oh,
and
you train, and
can't,
he's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, how'd you know? I'm like, his ears are have cauliflower. You can tell.
yeah, unless somebody went up and hit him with hammers on the side of his head. I don't know what else is
Yeah,
going to
over
be.
and over again.
Yeah, it's like, but my thing is with cauliflower ear, I
Mhm.
thought, can't you just like, I
You can
never,
get rid of it. Yeah,
yeah, can't you just like, if you immediately,
you have to drain it. Yeah,
yeah, like, and then these guys just don't do it,
I
or
assume
does
that
that
they
like at
have
a
to do it
certain,
so many times that they say fuck it at some point. You know what I mean?
or can't they
Like
just
it
wear,
just comes back.
yeah, but can't you just wear the
So
headgear too? That's why they have the headgear for wrestling.
that's true. Hey, that's true.
Yeah.
And I don't see, and I am wondering, I was like, am I going to get cauliflower ear? Like, I don't think so. I think you have to be really like grinding your ears like into somebody for a long time. And jujitsu doesn't, you do that, but not like the way like a wrestler would. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I
so
mean a wrestler, you're using your head to
you're in
keep
there
space
the whole
between.
time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And you do use your head in jujitsu in certain situations, but more times than not, you are pretty separate from somebody. You know what I mean? Like wrestling, there's no ground game on wrestling. You know what I mean? So you're always like going forward and connected to your opponent. Whereas like in jujitsu, you have to be careful where you place your limbs and your body and stuff like that, or else you'll get caught in something you don't expect. So I think that I'm not worried about getting it because for that reason and because I don't really grind my face into people. I usually and I have to change this. I usually use my like arms pretty well because I'm stronger than most people in my gym. Actually, I'm probably stronger than everybody in my gym. But I don't want to use that to I want to learn the techniques. So there is a wrestler in our gym though, and he's pretty annoying, but he's just kind of big.
Does he have cauliflower?
No, well, I don't know. Now you have me questioning if I noticed or not. Because I was thinking, I was like, oh, does the black belt, our
See,
coach,
the
the
thing
black
is
belt, have
though,
cauliflower ear? I don't think he does.
the thing is though, you could tell. It's noticeable. Like because
Yes.
as
The
you're,
second he walked up.
I don't notice it. Like I don't necessarily look at people's ears, but if I'm talking to somebody, I'll notice that they have
Yeah,
cauliflower ear. It's just like, oh,
I'm looking at his face. Yeah.
I'll know why. Like, because I remember our wrestling coach in high school, he had, yeah, definitely had cauliflower ear. Like, didn't do
And
it.
some of them get it so much worse than others. Like
But that's what.
sometimes
But
it's
it's
just like
like
a big
I
fucking
thought.
thing on there. But then
Oh
other
yeah,
times it just looks like you look like an elf. You know what I mean? You got like some weird shit on your ears.
but it's by impact. It's not necessarily by like just rubbing it. Like it's supposed to be a significant impact.
Is it impact?
It's
I thought it
trauma.
was like just irritation.
I mean,
Oh, I don't know. I'm not
no,
100% sure
no. I
on
mean,
what cauliflower is.
according to the website that I'm looking at, cauliflowerear.com, they it's a initial impact or blow to the ear.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, which
So
is
yeah, you like pick a dude up and you slam him on
that's
the
what I
ground
was
with your
thinking.
head,
Yeah,
and
yeah, you
like,
just the
yeah, yeah,
impact of the ground or banging their heads. I mean, you bang.
yeah.
You ever hit somebody's head? Just impact the head, not even like far apart, but you just kind of bump heads together. That shit's gonna hurt.
Oh, dude, you think those sumo guys get like cauliflower face? They're just bashing their heads into each
They don't
other
even
like
know what
straight away.
cauliflower is.
Yeah. Dude, I was watching a sumo like where they took all the yokozunas to eat, and these motherfuckers clean. They just had bowls and bowls of fucking food brought to them. It was insanity, dude. They're just Just because that's how you eat in Japan. It's like very, it's like courteous to slurp your food because the
Oh,
way
I
they
know.
have like their noodles, and it's
It's
disgusting. But
yeah, that's like my biggest pet peeve, and I get a lot of shit for this one, but that's like it's one of the
oh,
many
dude,
it's one of the many reasons I don't watch The Simpsons. Have you ever heard The Simpsons eat? I shit you not.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
that
I know
shit
what you're talking about.
infuriates me. It's
No, I do the same thing. Like, and I can't even if it's like that kind of shit. That'll piss me off, fucking right away, dude. I'll be like, hey, shut your fucking mouth when you eat, you stupid idiot. So
you fucking
I
Neanderthal.
am yeah, no, I'm 100. I got like upset, but then I realized I think I do it too, and I had to like fix it. I was on like a trip like in high school with some kid, and this is funny that I remember this because I barely remember high school, but I remember like the weird parts that like stuck in, like changed my brain. Apparently, this kid would eat his cereal, but every time he ate his cereal, he would like hit his fucking teeth, so it
Oh,
would like make
people
a
who
click.
bite the utensil
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
shit.
And I was like, yo,
Oh, dude.
do I do that? And then I realized I'm like, oh shit, I think I do that too. And I don't hear it because it's like, and so I was like, I'm not
Well,
gonna say anything to him.
let's talk. You want to talk
But
about? Let's talk about other fucking annoyances. The people who
yeah,
drink
yeah, yeah.
water bottles, and it's like they have
Uh-huh.
that like glugging sound,
Oh
or like
yes,
it's like, dude,
yes.
how do you not know how to drink out of a water bottle? Like people who put their lips completely
Yes.
around it and just it's like, bro, let some air in.
I had a girlfriend who would put her tongue like in the hole first and then put her mouth on it, and it was disgusting to look at, honestly. I was like, what are you doing? Don't do that. She's like, I just is how I've drank that for forever. I was like, that's what?
I also find it hilarious how people will drink and they like don't breathe. They'll like, and
And then
then
come out.
it's just like, dude, just breathe. It's not that hard. That's what your nose is there
Well, now,
for.
and I don't know if this is 100%, but I was told that if you chug water, it changes how your body absorbs it, so it makes you like pee faster. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
What smooth
yeah,
brain moron told you that?
it was a teacher at Sac State. How dare you?
That sounds about right.
But
Haven't
I
even
was like,
gone
is that
there.
true? They're like, oh, you want to sip your water because XYZ. But the only way I got my head around it is if the way I pictured it is like a big old bucket of water gets put in your stomach and your stomach can only absorb so much of it and then the rest of it just kind of runs down the tube, you know what I mean? That's the only way I could put it together. But in my mind it doesn't make like if you're it doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't work that way, but yeah, chugging water. But if you, yeah, if you're chugging water like you're dying in just everyday life, like bro, just take a sip, dude. Just sip on that thing. You don't have to make sounds for the rest of the world.
Oh well,
It's
according
gross.
to what?
What does
According
it say?
to AI overview.
Uh oh,
Yeah,
they know
yeah.
what's up.
No, but I guess it is. It's like sipping water is generally thought to be better, and you'll absorb water more effectively as opposed to just chugging.
Okay.
It's like, all
I
right,
do try to sip my water just because I'm like I don't have any reason to chug the water, so I guess I'll sip it just in case they are right. But now, okay,
that's weird,
let's think.
and that's weird how you think because it's like
Yeah.
me. I'm really bad at drinking water. Like
Mhm.
I throughout the day, like I'll just be like, oh, I should get some water. Then I'll just down with like a 16-ounce
Yeah.
glass. I'll chug a 16-ounce
Sure.
glass. But I'm like, whatever. I got water in me. I think my kidneys are okay.
I'm sure it's fine.
My pee is the appropriate yellow hue.
And I think that if that's the case, then you're fine. You know what I mean?
As long as I'm
Your
drinking
pee is
water.
the
Like, I mean, I
appropriate
don't.
color.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel thirsty all the time. That's the thing too. I don't even
Mhm.
think about being thirsty. Like, I'll go. I'm sure I've gone multiple days, not in a row, but like in my life, where I've gone a full day and not had a sip of water.
Oh yeah, plenty,
Which is
plenty for
like
sure.
weird to think about because I see people just drinking water all the time, and I'm like, no, I'm not thirsty. Like,
Now that's another pet peeve of mine is the motherfucker who needs their water bottle with them at all times. It's like, dude, live without it for whatever. But like then they bring it. So like this was especially apparent in college. They will just bring like a gallon fucking giant water like metal Yeti water bottle
yeah,
or Stanley one and just like plop it on the fucking table, which makes a sound every fucking time they gotta
clang.
take swing, swing. It makes the fucking sound when they glug glug, and then they fucking put it back, cling, 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 fucking. And I wish I was the teacher because I've been like, hey, shut up, go outside and do that or something. Like it just pissed me off, dude. And so I even made a point to be as like if I was gonna drink water because I'll be honest, I had my water bottle, but I had it in my backpack. Like I don't need it on my fucking
No, but
my
like
my desk.
if you
Like
have like
I'm not gonna die in an hour.
like a 24-ounce water bottle, but you know what they really need to
Yeah,
do,
24 ounce.
honestly, is they need to have more water filling stations available, like places.
Now at Sac State, they did have a lot. I was like, damn, y'all got some. They had like
Yeah, well, when you pay
what?
$3,000 a semester
That's true.
for
That's true. They were
30,000
fucking us
students,
on
you
that.
better have some
And it's
goddamn
gone
water
up since we
available.
left. By
I'm
the
sure
way,
it has, yeah. That's what
like
I'm saying.
twice, honestly.
But it's well, I mean, but it makes especially makes sense in Sacramento because it gets fucking hot there. Like
Yeah, exactly.
that
No.
spring
You do need it
semester,
there.
and well, yeah, both semesters really. I mean, in the beginning of the
Yeah.
fall and end of the spring, it's brutal, especially in the spring.
Yeah, dude. No, it sucks, dude. So I don't blame I don't blame you having the water bottle. It's just you don't need that much. Like I said, we got the refill stations. You know what? No one gives a fuck if you leave the class. Just get up and refill your water bottle and come back. No one cares. Like the teacher barely
Or
cares.
fill it up
Unless he's an
before you
expert.
get in the goddamn class. Like,
Or fill it up before you're in the class, which is definitely what I would do. But some people just, I mean, yeah, now do you believe so? To take another, unless you have another thing, but
absolutely not.
to take a little bit of a diversion, do you think that the kids are like as dumb as they're telling us they are in schools these days? Because I don't know if I maybe
Yeah,
believe
because
that, but
I
like,
interact with their
yeah, go
parents
ahead.
a lot. So yes, I think that
Oh,
their kids are as dumb as like when a person comes up to me. Here's just a very general example. But when a person
hmm,
comes up to me and they're late for their appointment, they go, "Sorry, I couldn't find parking," or "Sorry, there was traffic." I'm like, "Oh well, I'm
hmm.
sorry, we need to reschedule. You're late." Like, well, I couldn't find, there was traffic. I was like, well, then you should have left earlier. Like, you know what I mean? It's like people. I don't want to say necessarily dumb as far as intelligence goes, but lack of awareness is the biggest problem with kids and their parents.
Now I think it might be intelligent.
I think it is
I'm
too.
getting we're seeing stuff about like kids not being able to fucking read and shit and like write and interact properly with like there's this I'm talking about like young kids like you know uh I guess high school. I guess it is high school. Never mind now that I think about it. But like that seventh to like
What do you mean
12th
can't
grade
read?
area.
Like completely illiterate, or are you talking like when they read something they don't comprehend it?
Probably both. Probably not as bad as I think to say illiteracy, but like also bad enough to be like, are you illiterate?
See,
Because
that's
and this is why I bring that up because at Sac State, some of those kids were fucking retarded. I was like, what is going on here? How did you get out of high school to get to this point? You can barely write. I'm reading your stuff, and you can barely put together sentences, bro. What is this?
I don't know. I'd have to look at experience what younger kids, like elementary school and middle school kids are
Hmm.
going through right now. Because honestly, like I remember being in school and having to read aloud.
Dude, that's what I they would test us and I was
Yes,
reading at like an eighth grade level in like third or fourth grade, you know what I
right.
mean, like they
I
they
could see that
they
for
were like
sure. Yeah.
forcing us. Yeah, well, I also grew up in a
No, you're.
household of readers, but
That's what I'm saying. Like you're a
uh
big reader. I don't read. This is. I
mhm.
just started reading and I turned 40 last year. So I just
But they're still the same thing. You're testing these kids, and I realize that there's like the no kid left behind policy and or wherever where they just move them along anyway, but you still are like, hey, this we need to put this kid in the ABC class or something. Like he can't fucking do it. You know what I mean?
we definitely need to change the standard. What's different though too is it's like
True.
I feel like so I can read. I understand things. If I concentrate and read something, I get it. But what's weird is, I mean, I am a slow reader, but what I'm saying is, if I were to read a book off of a tablet versus read a book
Hmm.
from an actual physical book, I would
Hmm.
comprehend it more with the physical book. I don't know why.
Hmm.
It's harder for me to read something when it's not like I remember when I had to
No.
when I was doing
Yeah.
a training for tech support for that fruit company, and everything we had to do, we couldn't print anything out. I mean, it was it was all top secret,
Yeah.
but everything you had to read off of the computer. And then it's like when I went to go take the test, I did fine, but I knew I had trouble comprehend. Like I can't. It's just weird for me to read it off a screen.
That makes sense. But now this, I have heard this, and I'll have to maybe I need to check on it. But there was like a test for how much you can, and this is not comprehension. This is just like quantity.
Mhm.
Like you read faster on an iPad because of how it's lit than on a piece of paper, which makes sense to me to a degree because like, you know, lighting
Mm.
and like how the page looks, blah 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 blah, that could affect how you fast you read. But like maybe because you have to try a little harder to read the paper book, you comprehend it better. And this is that what I was talking, and I question this too. Even worse comprehension has to come from the audio book, right? Like you're just listening to it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that you get
I don't know how
equal
people do it.
to.
They're like, oh, I listened to this audiobook. I'm like,
You
it's.
probably didn't get much out of it then, right? I
I
mean,
would think
well, and
not.
that's not this is true. Or I'm not trying to like belittle audiobooks, but
No,
in
but you
terms of
did.
comprehension, I just feel like it can't be because you're just
It's
you have to process your reading, whereas listening it kind of I don't know, it's a different.
well, no, it's
Maybe
like
it's the same. I don't know.
when you're listening to a podcast, whatever
Yeah, yeah,
you don't hear everything that's going on. You're usually,
true.
if I'm listening to an audiobook right now and I'm doing, I'm doing whatever, I'm doing laundry, I'm not listening to every word. There's gonna be good 20-second gaps
Yeah,
probably, and frequently where I'm just not even really gonna like. I'll get the gist of what's going on. Like, yeah, I know what's going on. I missed certain parts though for sure. It's like watching a show on TV and then getting up, leaving the room for a second, coming back, and you still know what's going on, but you missed one little detail that's key to it. And then you go, "Oh, this happened. Why did this happen?"
I wonder
Uh,
if it has to do too with like the transition you have, or not transition, but like you have to read the word and then paint the image in your brain and then understand the image. You know what I mean? Like
it's
maybe, yeah, I don't know. But
well, not
listening, you have to hear it and then, yeah. So
it's. I mean, again, that goes back to it's just how different everybody's brain is. It's because like my niece, she 7 years old, she reads very well and is really
hmm
good at it. It's just how some kids are. Like me, I was never a reader. I was always a math guy. You know what I mean? Like numbers were my thing, words were not. At least reading wise, I was a great writer in college.
what about the numbers, Mason?
But
But anyway,
I
I
don't
think,
know. It's also
yeah,
it's a different world too. I mean, kids can't write.
it is.
Nobody can. They don't teach cursive anymore. Nobody signs a
Well, I
signature
mean,
anymore. No, but I mean, like it's like that. I know
no,
it's
I
like
know what you
basic,
mean. Yeah.
but it's just like these kids. They're not even typing their fucking papers. They have Chat GTP doing it.
That's true too. That's definitely going to fuck them up down the road. But, and that's funny too. We had to, I don't know about you, but I had to take a typing class. I had to do like keyboarding and shit like that. I
When
had
I
to
was like
learn,
in yeah when I was in
yeah,
middle
like
school.
eighth or
Yeah,
ninth
yeah.
grade. Yeah.
They taught you home row and yeah.
Yep. And you have,
Here's
and they
what's
even try
wild.
to force you to have like this, the like develop the, you have to put your hands in the center and you use your pinky to do this one and you do this one and this one. And I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, but
But I am
I
a very good typer for that reason.
see. I didn't really pay attention to that. I always typed sufficiently enough. But these kids now, like, how many words? Do you know how many words a minute you could type? I'm slow. I'm average. I can do
I don't
around
know.
50 to 60 a minute, which is slow.
Well, I mean, I write like between 1,000 and 1,500 words in an hour. Right, I'm writing my book, so I don't know what that equals
Well,
out to.
divide that by 60.
I can't. That's impossible. The
Those
talent has been
numbers,
lost to
those
time.
numbers are too great. But what I'm saying, like when I was in, so let's just say it's the lower end,
That's like 20
1,500
words per minute. That
divided by
less or
no divided
more
by
actually.
60 is it's 25 words. But you're also not typing consistently for an hour. You're
No,
stopping
I'm
to
sitting
think.
there reading or
Yeah,
and
yeah,
rereading what I'm doing.
yeah.
stuff like that.
So
So it's a little faster, yeah.
that's why they do it in a minute. Like I'm sure you type for a minute, but it's like me. I literally just took a typing test for this job I was applying for, and they only required 25 words a minute. I was like, no
Okay.
problem. Yeah, no problem. But I was working with this young lady. She's about half my age. We were working, and she was typing, and I was listening to her type, and I'm just like, how many fucking words a minute can you type? And she's like 123. And I'm like,
Damn.
yeah. I was like, you type 2 words a second? It's
Some people could do that.
yeah, and accurately.
I was gonna say you have to ask about accuracy too.
But the thing is, they grew up with the keyboard. Like we got the keyboard.
And spell check makes things a lot easier. You don't have to go back and fix
True,
it.
but we got the keyboard halfway through our academic careers,
Yes.
basically.
True.
You know, and that's not necessarily an
computers came in
excuse.
a little
yeah,
bit late.
yeah. We were on the cusp of it, whereas she was born with an iPad in her hand. You know what I mean?
But and that's a different that like there's not going to be the same kinds of kids like that like we had where
Mhm.
they like had to develop this like computers were they were evolving along with computers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas these were like computers we today are developing simpler and simpler computers to have give access to more and more people so
Right.
that you don't have to have skills to really use them.
You know what's so wild is like you think about it now, like with the internet speed, like what we have right now, we're having a conversation, video chat. Like this takes significant. Like
Oh, dude, this is
we
the
could
thing.
not do this over dial up,
No, not even close.
and if we did,
Look
it
at
would.
Star Wars, dude. They thought that was going to be like the pinnacle of fucking science, where you had like a fucking blurry version of yourself talking to them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is like that's not even close to what it turned out to be. It's like this, yeah. We just are looking at each other like almost in real time. Like if you got killed instantly right now, I'd be like, oh my god.
yeah. You'd find
I'll
out
call
5
somebody.
seconds later. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
call somebody.
Like, oh my god.
When did it happen?
But,
well, 5 seconds ago from now, so that means 15 seconds ago from then.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
So
go.
it could have been it could have been an hour ago. I don't know. But yeah, it is funny to think about that. Like it definitely with like AIM, instant messenger is what I shouldn't have
Well,
said it like
it's
that. AIM.
well AOL Instant Messenger.
That's
So
what we
it
had
was-
to do. We
yeah,
were like
yeah,
in
yeah.
fucking space, like
Yeah,
light
yeah,
years
yeah.
away from each other.
And then if you got a phone call, it disconnected.
Oh yeah, you're Mom, are you on the fucking phone? I was
Yeah.
talking to my girlfriend. Come on. You're in middle
Oh,
school.
man. What was? But it's weird to think about too, because it's like, again, we have no idea where our parents were when we were kids. But it's like, you know, how many times did you hear growing up in school? You're never gonna have a calculator just readily available, and now
Yeah.
you're fucking
That was a lie.
now you have a device in your pocket that is stronger than the technology took to get to the moon in 1969.
Yeah, no kidding. Think
Yeah.
about James Bond's movies where because he had all those little gadgets, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just like a phone. Like all of his gadgets fit onto his little phone. You know what I mean?
It's an app for that.
Yeah, you don't get to go through and hang out with Q and get all your cool gadgets. Now he just gives you a phone and be like, "It's all on there. Just look at it. Fuck you, Bond. Get the fuck out of here."
Who do you think will win in a fight,
Bum,
Bond,
ba-da-dum, bum,
Bond
bum, bum,
or
bum.
John Wick?
John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. John Wick is probably
Do you think?
Which is
Do you think Bond
Still
would give
talk
him a
about
good
John Wick.
fight? Do you think he'd put up a good fight?
Bond would give him a good fight. Bond would put up a good fight. Well, which Bond are we talking about here? Are we talking about Daniel Craig Bond, or are we talking about like Pierce Brosnan Bond?
It would have to be Daniel
Because
Craig.
Daniel Craig Bond was like a gorilla, dude. He was huge.
Yeah, but I would also
He would probably win, actually. Yeah, go ahead.
You think? Well, no, because it's like Pierce Brosnan. Like those guys weren't like even Sean Connery. Like everybody before Daniel Craig was
yeah.
just they were just like they were cool and they could they didn't really
That
do
was
they even really
before-
do they even really fight? Like, I don't remember them having fight scenes.
Usually they would like in the third one, Brosnan kills Diamond Face in the car. So
Right. And their
he just
fights
shoots
would
people. He just usually shoots people.
well, and their fights would be more quote unquote human, where it would be like if well, you're a jujitsu guy, but if
I'm a master of jiu-jitsu, yes.
if I was to fight some guy, it would be ugly and brutal because
Yes.
you know what I mean.
And those were the Bond fights. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Until Daniel Craig, where it was more finesse and cool.
Yeah, that was cool though. When he's chasing that guy, I think it was in Casino Royale where he's chasing that parkour guy, and
Mhm.
he's the guy like does like a parkour thing around like a wall, and, and Bond just bashes through the
Oh
wall.
yeah, that's right.
You're like, good thing there wasn't a fucking stud there.
No shit, right? Craig's Bond was cool, man, and yeah,
I
I
did
like
like
her.
him the most. He because you and unfortunately you can track that to like the evolution of what a man is expected to look like these days because Pierce Brosnan, like in that third one, he's just like a kind of like a pudgy old man. You know what I mean? He's not really in good shape.
Well, he's
So
getting older.
yeah, but even in the first one, he's just thin. He's not really like a big. He doesn't have like a big burly chest and giant arms and shit like that. Like Arnold, even though Arnold had like come and gone at that point, he's the expectation to have that like jacked body was not there yet until we've gotten to like I really think it started honestly with like the MCU, like with the Avengers, because like
Hemsworth and
Chris Hemsworth came in huge, and then fucking Chris Pratt came in as Star Lord. He was fucking huge, and then and fucking I mean Chris Evans. Look at Chris Evans. He was like a
yeah.
little fucking kid until he got to the MCU, and now he's and damn dude. Would well, you know what I was about to say? Would you trade X amount of years for X amount of millions of dollars? And the answer is probably yes. I probably would. Like if you're like you have to do steroids that will carve off, let's say 10 years off your life, but we're gonna give you $100 million. I'd be like, yeah, all right, sure.
You think they're definitely steroids? I
Yes,
don't think Pratt was.
yes,
I
every
don't.
single one,
No,
dude.
I don't think Pratt was steroids. I really don't. He wasn't
That
like
was steroids
he
for
wasn't he wasn't
sure.
super jacked. He was not super jacked.
You
Hemsworth, i-
Hemsworth is like I will give
he
you.
had it.
You
They
just made me
definitely.
say 99%. Maybe Chris Pratt wasn't. Hemsworth is 100%. Same with Evans too. They are one because look at you can you know what you can do. You can look at him now because look at Chris Evans right now. He has definitely like swollen down. Like he is
Well, yeah.
he stopped the steroids and now he's like a normal looking person. You know what I mean? So, but Hemsworth, yeah. Oh, he's juiced up to the giggles, dude.
He was pretty fucking jacked. I mean,
Same with The Rock. If you don't believe that The Rock's not on fucking
oh gee,
steroids,
he's
if you don't
on
believe everybody in the WWE is on steroids, then you are dumb.
that dude is on the gas for sure. The Rock, he's got
And
his
you can tell. You can tell.
man. No,
Like
there's
if
no
you've
way
worked
he's
out
not.
long
And there's
enough,
yeah,
yeah.
there's no way he's not.
It takes a long time. If you were to do it naturally, it would take you a long time, and you still wouldn't have like the fucking massive like shoulders and chest that these
Well,
guys
okay.
develop. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing that I'm wondering is, would you consider testosterone steroids? Like like TRT? That's steroids because they probably didn't take steroids. They probably just took.
Technically, yes.
They took.
Technically, yes.
Yeah,
But
they
I
definitely had
understand what you're saying.
assistance. Yeah, they did. I don't know. Say they went out and just took anabolic steroids. They probably took
Hmm.
something that is an enhancement. Yeah, I'll say that. Even Pratt, because I can't say like when I think steroids, I think Schwarzenegger, I think Stallone, I think
Yeah. Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And all those guys were definitely on steroids.
yeah,
But
yeah. But they didn't do
yeah.
it
I mean,
completely natural. They definitely had.
no, just impossible. It's just impossible. Like to get and in such small amounts of time
I
too.
don't no, I
Like
don't think it's impossible, but I do think it's impossible in that amount of time. I think there's plenty of guys out there that could do it if they if they eat an obscene amount of protein and work hard enough and are genetically built for it.
well,
You
the
know.
problem. So if you're doing steroids, it's not that you just take it and then you just balloon up. It's that you take it, you do your work, and then the next day your body has recovered well enough and
Yeah,
built up enough
yeah,
muscle to then do it again.
yeah.
And then so you're working out 6 days a week at maximum fucking effort. Whereas I fucking go to the gym and the next day I can barely walk or I can barely lift my
Well,
arms and
dude,
then I have to take a day off or something or
one,
you know what I mean?
no, for sure. And when we were in Sacramento during the pandemic and we had that gym at your garage, I was
Mhm.
we were hitting it hard, man. And
Mhm.
I was hitting the gym at least 90 minutes a day just for the weightlifting and then doing cardio. I
Mhm.
was solid 3 hours a day working out. I fucking plateaued. My performance increased. As far
Yes.
as my body went, like I couldn't break 209. Like I could not
Yeah.
get any lower than that. It looked fucking amazing.
Sure.
But no, but ultimately it's just like, yeah, after at a certain point, you either need to somehow hit it even harder, or you're gonna need a little help.
So let's if we want to remove or like change how enhancement, like it couldn't, it doesn't have to be like anabolic steroids. It could just be like a recovery thing that
Yeah,
I can't remember what they called it, but like I remember the safety from like the New England Patriots got caught with it, and it was just to get him back on, and that makes sense for football players. Like you need week after week, you're like going into
those
fucking
guys need.
combat effectively.
Yeah,
They
they
need it.
need that. Yeah, like they should give for certain athletes. Well, no, for all athletes. I mean, those guys, their body goes through. Even baseball players, like people say, baseball players, yeah, they stand out there. 80% of the time they're just standing around, but they're doing that every day, traveling, working out. Like that's only
Yeah,
that's only the game. During the
true.
they're training that whole time. It's like a fight. Like everybody's like, oh man, these guys get paid millions of dollars and all they got to do is fight for 10 minutes. And it's like, well, they worked for like.
First of all, most of those guys don't get paid millions of dollars, and the lifespan of a fucking fighter too. I mean,
No, but like a
yeah,
boxer,
dude, I feel bad for him.
no, exactly. But
Oh
like
yeah,
like
boxer.
boxing,
Yeah.
it's like everyone's like, oh, they work 3 hours and get $10 million. Like, yeah, but they also train for like 50,000 hours. So
Man, if you've never done a combat sport and you're gonna talk shit about a combat sport,
if
you need
you've
to go
never
get punched
done
in the face real quick.
if you've
Yeah,
never done a sport at any level of competition, like even in high school, it's high school football. It's not
yeah, yeah.
and you're only allowed to work out so much, but you work out. You're playing football 2 hours a day after school, and that's not including gym time. You know,
Exactly.
and
That
I
shit
was
fucks you up.
yeah, man. Your body's just. I remember when you started 2 a days. It was like that first week was horrible.
It was terrible. I hated it. I
Yeah,
hated football, honestly. It was so lame. And the people
yeah,
who played it were lame too, honestly. Except for certain people. I mean, honestly, I found my niche of like cool people on defense, but like most of the people were just fucking nerds and were
yeah,
jerks and
yeah.
and swollen egos and dickheads and shit like that.
You know who was none of those things?
You.
John Wick.
John Wick. So yeah, let's go back to John Wick because he would definitely kill. He would snap Bond's neck with a flick of the wrist.
Yes, he
But no,
would.
no, no. Okay, okay. So I rewatched. We're talking about John Wick because I forgot that Ballerina's coming out this week, which I don't know if I will see. I might just wait for that to come out on whatever. But if I'm bored, I might go. Um, I rewatched the original John Wick, which I thought was my favorite. I think it might not be because it's not as clean as I thought it was. Um,
Really.
so
First of all, let me
after
let me
watch,
preface
yeah,
this
yeah,
with your complete inability to suspend disbelief. But go ahead.
okay. Here's something I did. I couldn't not suspend my disbelief because the beginning of John Wick, he gets clubbed in the he gets knocked down and like beaten up by the guys, right? To get his
Right.
car stolen and his dog killed.
Right.
I've seen John Wick do insane things. He would not lose that fight. He would get popped in the back of the head and then roll and do a fucking this. Now, hold on. I then took another step back or step forward, however you'd like. And I said, okay, John was retired. He wasn't expecting it. He's
Okay.
in a
Okay.
depressive mood because his wife just died. That's fair. He wasn't paying attention. And if anybody hits you in the back of the head where you're not with a metal pipe, if no less,
It's almost as if
you're
you knew I
probably
was going
going
to
to
say
be
exactly those things. So yes.
you're not going to be well enough to defend yourself the way John Wick would then kill everybody. You know what I
Right.
mean? So,
Right.
admittedly, I was suspending disbelief because I'm like, oh, it's John Wick. But then I had to then I was pulling back. I'm like, whoa, hold on. John Wick should be able to just rip these people's eyes out. Like, what is going on here? And then I was like, okay, hold on. In the context of the movie, it is okay for him to lose this, to create the movie, but and also if I'm not suspending my disbelief, it fits in the world. So anyway, otherwise, it's kind of a cheesy movie. If you listen to the audio, but that's weird. The
The dialogue,
so, what's up?
the dialogue, or are you talking like
The dialogue, yes. The dialogue is quite cheesy. And the guy, so remember the son was Theon Greyjoy in
right?
Game of Thrones.
I didn't see
He
Game of
does not have
Thrones,
a
but
Russian
yes.
accent. His accent is fucking terrible. Daddy,
He didn't, but he didn't really do a Russian accent, did he?
yeah, he did. That's what I'm saying. You know, he can't.
He did.
There was, yeah, but he would lose it. There was like times where he was just like, "Dad, I will," in his like English accent, and I'm like, "Wouldn't you make him do another take? Like that one was terrible." So, like even the like the famouser, that's a funny name.
That's a
The
wrestling move.
line where like John Leguizamo calls, it gets the call from the dad, and is like, "Yeah, well, yeah, he stole John Wick's car and killed his dog." Oh, like it's just there's just cheese to it. It just yeah, and another thing, and you want me to suspend disbelief? That's fair. Baba Yaga's a bad name for him because Baba Yaga is not the boogeyman. Baba Yaga is like a witch that lives in a house with like chicken legs that walks around a swamp. You know what I mean? Like,
That sounds pretty
know
boogie to
your
me,
folklore.
man. I mean,
Know your fucking folklore. So, but whatever. That one I'll give you because I don't know why.
so
I
no,
don't know
so
why I'm giving you that one.
no, it's I haven't seen the original in quite some time. It is. I love all the movies. I really do. Three was my least favorite for sure. Four was
Yeah, it was kind of boring.
four was a close second.
Now the action in one is phenomenal.
Yeah,
Like that's his first action scene where he's in the house. Amazing. Like
yeah,
that's what sells it. So when I was watching it, I'm thinking like, man, this is like what birthed the Fast and Furious like 5 and after like action movies because you didn't care that the rest of the movie was fucking cheesy because once you got to the action and the shit that you were there for, it was great because like you could tell the choreography was really good. Keanu's doing like most of, if not all of the fucking
yeah.
the work himself. Um, and you can tell the amount of like practice. You can see it like. And what was fun about it was like you didn't in a movie like the old action movies, the guy would just have infinite ammo and you never see him reload. Here,
Oh
when
yeah.
he reloads, it's part of the fight. He's like fighting and he's doing the reload with it, and like he does the thing. I forgot about the knife thing where he gets the guy on the knife and he's just bashing the knife
Oh
into
yeah.
the guy. I was like, oh, dude, this is crazy.
It is when it comes to the fight scenes and action scenes, it's meticulous. It really is. It's
Yes,
very well thought out.
it takes its
And that's
time.
yeah, and that's why I think. I mean, other than the fact that it's completely absurd, just in general, the whole entire concept of everything it's just stupid ridiculous.
Yes,
But that's what makes it awesome too. Is that it's so melodramatic and campy that
yes,
the seriousness and the artful way they do the action scenes, that's compensates for the that whatever. It's like, oh, it's John Wick, and it's like they have to make it seem like it's ridiculous because I mean, really, it's like if that happened in real life, like if somebody was this badass, it probably would actually happen
yes.
that way. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like, oh, Rick's coming.
Whoops.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh shit.
yeah. Okay. Click.
No, no, and I think those were the fun parts. And I think if you didn't have the other John Wicks, it would stand out a lot more. But like they trade on on context in this, you know what I mean? Where you understand how deep the world is in of John Wick by being kind of like almost kind of ignoring the background. You know what I mean? Like,
By the way, time
what
out.
was I?
Everybody's
Yeah.
in this fucking world. By the way, like it's like, oh, there's all these lame people that are. It's like, where are these normal people that are living in
Oh
this
yeah,
world?
dude. Everybody's
everybody's a
or
part. Yeah,
hitman
everybody.
at some point.
Yeah, everybody's a fucking hitman.
Willem Dafoe's in the first John Wick.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
know.
that? Did you
Yeah,
remember that? I
yeah.
was like,
He's this
oh,
boy
Willem,
who shot that
man.
chick through the window because he's his
Yes.
homie.
I love that girl, by the way. I can't remember her name, but I see her in everything. And the first thing I saw her in was was the Friday Night Lights TV show, and I'm like, A, this woman is not a teenager, but whatever. B, you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Please be my girlfriend. But I don't know her name, unfortunately. But I feel bad for her because I see her in so many shows that are like that get one season and they get canceled. But she's never bad in her with what she's doing. So she plays Perkins in the John Wick.
Adrienne Palicki.
Yes,
she is a pretty lady. She's a pretty lady.
I don't know what it is, but her face structure and all that stuff, that's like the perfect woman for me. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with my mind, but when I see her, I go, yes, please. So like, okay. I'm trying to think of an example of like where, like, okay, so the cop comes, so he kills everybody in his house, and the cop comes. And he's just like, "Hey, Jimmy, what's up?" And he doesn't even hide the fact there's like dead bodies. And Jimmy's like, "Oh, you working again, John?" He's like, "No, just figuring some stuff out." He's like, "Okay, I'll leave you to it." But it shows you that you don't have to show a scene where he like makes a deal with the cops and they leave and like, remember, we got to deal with this guy and we don't mess with his stuff. Okay, let's go talk to him. Instead, they show you the scene and everything is explained in just him going like, okay, I'll leave you to it, John. Like, obviously, a crazy hitman like John Wick, you can't really like arrest him normally. So they've just allowed him to exist in his own world because as long as he's killing bad people, it's fine. You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's ever. Unless they are doing like fucking clandestine like assassinations, like I didn't notice anything in the John Wick's
it definitely
they're usually just killing rival bad people. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, at a certain point, it kind of like, well, as much as it can jump the shark, it jumps the shark definitely in like the third one when he goes out into the desert. And it's like the high table, and and then what's weird
Off
is
your finger, John Wick.
There's really no end to because there's going to be a fifth one, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's really no end to like who's the last guy? Like, was it Alexander Skarsgård? One of the Skarsgårds. It's like in the fourth one.
Yeah.
It's like he was clearly very high, but he's
how
still,
much higher can we get on this?
Yeah,
totem
he
pole?
still had somebody he had to answer to. Like there were still repercussions to if he made, he did something. There was rules, and Clancy Brown I think was even higher than him at some point or on some level.
I miss Clancy Brown. I love Clancy Brown.
He's awesome.
Anything he's in, I love him in. He's a great voice actor. He's in so much.
He's SpongeBob. He's in SpongeBob. He's Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's me boy, SpongeBob. Dude, I got a pretty good fucking Mr. Krabs, dude.
That wasn't bad. But you know who I wish was in it more? Was,
yes.
Peter. Well, him and then Peter Stormare. Is that how you say his name? He's the guy from. He was in. What's that movie called? Constantine. He was the devil in Constantine. He always plays a bad Russian dude.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. I always put Jean Reno's name to him sometimes.
Yeah, I could see that confusion for sure.
But they're completely different. But yeah Peter Stormare is great. And by the way, that Constantine movie, fucking amazing. I love that movie. And that scene with Peter Stormare in it as Satan is fucking awesome. I love it actually.
Sidebar, they need to start DC over with the Constantine movie. Okay. Anyway, we'll move on from there.
Anyway, back to John Wick. So I'm trying to get this thought out of my head or like express it properly. But the idea is that your implied like knowledge is so much. Like he walks into the Continental and like you don't have to be told what the gold coins do. It's like you just know because of how he uses them and what he does. And
by the way, it buys you a lot.
It does buy you a lot. And also how much does one like, the guy he summons the guy who like gets rid of all the bodies, like like in the phones thing where it's like you just
I like how they kind of also it's like everything was so retro, but then they would send out a mass text. It's like
but no, it loses that like luster of coolness once you get to like number 3 where you have to exactly run out into the desert and meet the high table and like now you're getting too much information about the world. It was better when things didn't make sense, like, or not didn't make sense, but like made sense enough for you to need to like be like, okay, let's get John Wick to the next fucking spot to kill everybody. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to understand the intricacies of the world, because if you give enough context clues, you're fine. You know exactly what you need to know. And I think that this movie does that super well.
Yeah.
That is then, like I said, lost over the next movies as you explain
Well,
more and
again,
more.
that goes to the suspending disbelief, and that's what they're doing very well. Because
Hmm.
again, it's like you just accept it. Like this is like, oh fuck, like there's another level. There's another
Yeah.
high table guy. Like, how big is this table and how high is it? And
Yeah, dude, was this like we got the kids table over here and we got the was that like a bar
that's because
table
that's
where
the
you
other
can just
thing too.
relax for a minute?
It's like the guy who played the Russian. I forget what his name is in the movie.
yeah, I've seen he was in the good Mission Impossible. He was the bad guy in the good Mission Impossible that Tom Cruise draws on his hand to show Jeremy Renner. Who's this guy? Who the fuck?
Oh yeah, that's right. That was him.
Drawing, but I
Yeah.
think that's notorious bad guy. This fucking dude.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
his in the first one, it's only him. He's the main. You know, he's the
him.
big guy.
Yeah, only him.
And you kind of just think it kind of, I don't know. It's weird that his character got nothing really out of it. It's like, how high up was he really when you go back when you're into
That's a good question.
Into the fourth movie, he's just a peon. He's just nothing.
Yeah. But the idea is that John Wick like worked exclusively for him and got him to where he was.
Yeah.
And then retired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, so did the high table people just be like, there's a guy named John Wick doing, like, how was John Wick not as, because everybody knows John Wick. Everybody.
Yeah.
Not one person like is like, who's this fucking dickhead?
Yeah.
Everybody is afraid of John to the point of being afraid of him. So
Yeah.
it's like, obviously there's background to it. And again, it is good in this movie because you don't know John Wick and you're getting to know him as the rest of the world like shows how they interact with him. And so you're like, oh, this guy is like the best hitman ever. So everyone should be afraid of him. But then that, like I said, it just wears off after 2 or 3 movies where you're like, okay, we get it. Baba Yaga. Scary. He did it with a pencil. Like,
I know, at a certain point, like when and I think it was was it 3 when the adjudicator came in?
yes, the girl from Billions.
Yeah. I just like
She's like, I like her in the movies. Yeah.
I do like I like her. She's got a good presence.
She plays that like robot woman very well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's just again, after the second one, it's like they really honestly, I know again, capitalism, movies, money, yada. But they should have just ended it on the second one.
Yes, and I was just about to say that if you did no John Wicks after John Wick 1, I think John Wick 1 would be like legendary to the point of like
I think 2
almost levels of Predator. You know what I mean? Like,
I think
not close to Predator, but like in the same lines of like this is a pretty clean movie. You know what I mean?
Like it was entertaining. It was perfect, and it was just like he got revenge. They got his revenge. It was done.
And I forgot that they Tarantino it, where they show the end and then bring you back to it. You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Because in the beginning, he's like looking at the video of his wife, and he's
that's
like,
right.
He's all fucked up, and he's like,
yeah.
And he's sitting, he like fell out of the car, and he's like, and then it ups it a little bit. Remember, Up the movie where
it really sad. It makes me cry.
Really sad in the beginning.
Pixar making me cry for uncontrollably.
How dare you?
10 minutes. No, for real.
I bet you there's a challenge like that. Watch Up for however and not cry.
I remember because I remember watching all the like however many Pixar movies there were before that. I was like, hell yeah! And then it was like Up's so great, and then I'm watching Up, and then 10 minutes, I'm like, dude, this is the saddest movie I've ever seen. And then it got funny. But anyway, John Wick.
But yeah, Baba Yaga. But yeah, I like the realism too. Like Keanu Reeves is definitely driving his car because they let him on like the airfield and he's like driving it around and smashing.
He did a lot
definitely
of his own
doing
stunts
some of that.
for sure.
Yeah.
He Tom Cruised it.
that's what I was gonna say. Tom Cruise and him share that, in that they have a passion for what they're doing, and it shows in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that in those last two movies, Tom Cruise is kind of losing the passion, so that's probably why he's like not doing it anymore. But the
He's also
but this
isn't he
one,
like 65?
and he's getting old, yeah. And I guess Keanu is like fucking put together with duct tape. So like at some point he can't do these anymore. So I'm sure like in Ballerina, and that's what I would do if I was him too. I would have made John Wick in 1 and 2, and then make like spin-offs in that series where then he just pops up every once in a while. Where he's like, hey,
Yeah.
it's me, John Wick. So like that's where I thought Ballerina could have been good, but you can see that this is just going to be like Fast and the Furious 9, where they don't understand what made like 5, 6, and the new ones fun, and they're just like trying to make them a quick buck. You know what I mean?
I wish they kind
Off of Anna de Armas, by the way, but whatever.
well, anyway.
No, what are we gonna say?
Well, no, I was gonna say, like, I wish they kind of would have somehow worked in, like, that subway scene when they're walking around shooting guns. Nobody's really reacting
God.
to.
Hilarious.
Yeah, nobody's reacting to this. Like, it's like they're so cool, or everybody's like, "Oh,
that.
this is just part of the world that we live in."
Yes.
It's like whatever, the high table people, don't bother them. But
Pew, pew, pew.
I don't know. I wish they kind of figured a way to have the normal people be affected more by it, or it was just like, and also the final duel at the steps of this whatever the hell it was in the fourth one. It's like, really, like they're just gonna.
I vaguely remember the fourth one too.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
the
the thing.
fourth one
I
wasn't
wanted to watch
that
the first
good.
one, and I don't want to watch the other ones. Maybe I'll watch 2.
Two's fun because 2 just picks up where it left off essentially.
That's true. Yeah.
And then
But
3
3
does
and 4
too.
I have like no interest. Although Ip Man in 4 is kind of cool.
3, yeah, he is. But 3 until he goes to, like, because 3 obviously picks up right where 2 left off. He's running through the park and he has to get stitched up, and then
yes.
and then he's excommunicado, and then everything up and through the first fight scenes. After that, it's just trash. I don't enjoy it. It just gets boring. Like, oh, now there's layers.
Well,
because now they're explaining who John Wick is, and I'm like, I don't really care.
I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I understand what John Wick is. He is best hitman who then left the life for Ashley Judd, which I would do the same, and then got brought back in. So
Ashley Judd, was it?
Don't you dare! Don't you dare disrespect me. I just watched the movie. Was it Ashley Judd? I can't remember now.
Who was John Wick?
It is.
It was
yeah.
Bridget Moynihan, man.
Was it?
Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm gonna start needing glasses. Starting to need glasses.
She is a beautiful lady too.
Does she look like?
I'll give it.
What's her face?
You already forgot her name.
Does she? Because I mean,
Ashley. No, I feel like Ashley Judd looks more like the girl next door, and Bridget Moynihan she's very. I mean, she's incredibly attractive, but I don't think they really look alike.
You only see her on like a camera, and then you see her in like clips. Whatever.
Yeah, you don't see her much. She's only in the movie for like those total of 30 seconds.
But you that's all you need to know about John Wick. You know what I mean? And then like
it's like
if you want to make another thing after it.
It's like when they explain the Joker, like in the Joker movie.
Oh yeah,
it's
you
like,
don't need
okay,
to
cool. Yeah, you don't need to explain the Joker. Nobody cares. Yeah, like
in
why
fact,
is he like that?
The Joker.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter why he's like that. He's like that. It's like.
So now, So speaking of like that, like it only just makes it worse. Like, so I read a comic where they give an explanation to the Joker, and he's like this like entity that has perpetuated for decades, if not centuries, and embodies himself in like a person. And I was like, this is dumb. Why are you doing this?
Well, that's what they're going to do with the next one, apparently, or at least with that. At least, okay. The idea or the theory is that Joaquin Phoenix started the Joker trend, and it's not so much as a person as it is an ideal. Because in the second one, thankfully, they kill off Joaquin Phoenix, so we'll never have to see a third one.
Oh, I didn't actually know that. I stopped watching that movie.
Okay, so spoiler alert, they kill him at the end. But
Good.
the guy who kills him cuts the glass with a
Becomes the
smile
Joker.
on his face.
Okay, see, I like that. I would
Yeah,
prefer it to be like a crazy person taking up the mantle every time,
that's kind of
not like
how it
a
looks like it's gonna
supernatural
go.
force.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
stupid to me.
I wouldn't make it a supernatural force, but it is definitely and it's not like, like I could one up the Joker. It's just like you remember the movie, you ever see the movie Fallen with Denzel? Where it's
That
like
sounds familiar, but I don't
it is
remember.
supernatural, but it's like, so what happens is this guy did some like voodoo thing and he died, and then his spirit went into somebody else, and then they became evil, and then when they died,
Chucky
it was
style.
kind of, yeah. But every time somebody died, the spirit would continue and find another body, and
I'm okay with that, I guess.
yeah,
But
well, but
yeah.
not so much as spirit, but it's like, it gets passed on to the next guy
Oh,
essentially.
that's like Smile. Do you ever see the movie
Yeah, kind
Smile?
of like that.
Kind of like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that movie
If you could kind of make,
sucked.
if you wanted to make that like the Joker, I guess I could kind of get it behind that, but I still don't like it. I like it to be like a little bit. Well, and see, that's the thing though. If you, because Batman's such a good detective, that's kind of was always like the selling point of the Joker was that Batman should be able to figure out who this fucking dickhead is, but he never can because he's just so fucking jokery. You know what I mean? Like you just, I don't know. So I think that once it does suffer once you explain it, and I think that's why we had like Arthur Fleck is not like everyone's accepted Joker, and or like
Like if you look at Arthur
who's
Fleck
the other
and
guy
then
over there?
uh, Heath Ledger,
No,
am
no,
I?
no, no. The name of the other. There's another name for the Joker.
But if you look at, again, this goes back to less is more, where when
Jack
we
Napier.
there you go. But again, less is more. It's like what we were talking about
Yeah.
last time, where it was talking about the thing, and then they made that other movie explaining how
Hmm.
they figured out what the thing was. It's like, dude, it was completely unnecessary to do. Nobody, and even if everybody and their mother's asking, like, oh, what's his background? Or, whoa, I wonder what happened to him. Leave it a mystery.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who Jack the Ripper is, but people are fascinated by him.
Hmm. No, and I think that they had to do it in the Batman '89 with Jack Nicholson because that's more of like an independent movie. But Heath Ledger's Joker is like the perfect one to me because he just
Yeah.
comes out of nowhere, is telling everybody like a different story about how he became the Joker and stuff like that. Which so you can tell he's just like a crazy person. Like, and then when they capture him, they kind of go through it like he's cut off all of his fingerprints. He's wearing custom clothes. Like there's no tracking anything on this man. Like we have no idea who he is. Like so, that is what you want in the Joker. Like someone who is impervious to Batman's like detective skills. You know what I
I
mean?
Completely unpredictable, doesn't have any kind of rhyme or reason to. He's just a
Hmm.
complete psychopath, and he just, yeah. He, and the thing is, too, it's like, if you want to go down that road, it's like Heath Ledger's Joker, at least, he probably doesn't even remember who he was. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
I would like that too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like I've completely blocked that part. I've gone so crazy, I don't even remember. You
See, and that's what I didn't like about this, and it was the Jack Napier Joker that I'm talking about with the whole like the disease of the Joker, where he at some point gets like some pills or something that like suppress the Joker genes or whatever, and he becomes a normal person, and so then he like uses that like
Wait,
recovery to
when did
then
that happen? This is the comic book.
this is a very weird comment. I think it was called the Curse of the White Knight or something like that, or I can't remember, but I do remember. I think it was Giuseppe Comalucci or something. I can't remember his name, but he's a fantastic artist, and that's why I read. He he made that comic very readable because the actual like you know story of the comic is fucking terrible. So but so the Joker then over time he like loses his ability, like the pills stop working, and he's like going back to Joker isms, and it just is stupid. I'm like, what is this? Why are you doing this? Like, the Joker should just be this like force of nature to a degree.
No, that's
Like, I
exactly
don't need this.
like you don't need some things. Just again can't be explained. Some force. He's a juggernaut. Like he's unstoppable. He really is. He already accounts for everything that's gonna happen. Like in the last Batman, or that he was in the Dark Knight, he got caught by Batman. I'm sure he thought that was gonna happen, or at least
Yeah, exactly.
accounted for it. It's like, well, if he foils me, I got this plan. And
And that was that part when he gets arrested
Harvey, yeah, he had Harvey
on purpose.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
He had a plan,
yeah.
and that was great. Like, that was what you want.
That's
Yeah,
Nolan
it's
for
called
you,
Batman
though, too,
White
man.
Knight. Yeah, and that was, people I've hated on the Christopher Nolan and his, actually, no, that's not true. Christopher Nolan's probably universally liked by most people. Yeah,
I would
I
think
mean,
so. I
I don't
I
see.
think I honestly think a lot of people, aside from the Batman movies,
Mhm.
which were it tightened it up nicely. Like everything was explained, with the exception of Joker. But even then, even the story was more about Harvey and these people dealing with this chaos.
Yeah,
But when you look at his other movies, Tenet, I'm totally blanking on all his. Jesus Christ.
I mean, he did the other ones that don't really have like
Well, in
like Dunkirk
Interstellar,
and
Dunkirk. Well,
Interstellar.
yeah, Dunkirk, but that was more of, I think, a personal project kind of thing.
I mean,
Um,
Dunkirk was cool.
it was cool. All of his movies are good. Memento was my least favorite, but editing wise,
Tenet is not a good movie.
I love Tenet.
Tenet
I love Tenet.
Tenet is a bad movie.
Anyways,
Although I did like that scene where he talks to Michael Caine, and then John David Washington was like
can
wearing
you
Brooks
wrap that
Brothers
up
and
for
getting
me?
shit talked.
Yeah.
And then can
Yeah,
you wrap
can
that
you
up
wrap
for me?
that for me?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, he's like, all right, go fuck yourself. That was, dude. Yeah,
Right, I like that.
JDW. He was awesome in that movie, but I think people can't keep up with the movie, and they hate that. Like everybody wants instant satisfaction, whereas it's like, again, you sometimes have to rewatch movies. It's art, believe it or not. It's an art form, so you can't.
Yes, but tell him to remix it then. Remix the fucking audio, you
No.
dumbass.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember. You're one of those. It's like, did you like the?
You can't hear what they're saying.
You don't have to.
I gotta hear what they're saying to understand the movie.
Okay, it's like you sound like my buddy who hates the Bourne movies because of the shaky cam.
What? No, the Bourne movies are great.
That's what I'm saying. He's like, I hate them. I like the shaky cam's stupid. I'm like, dude, like, it's supposed to be. He's like, I know, but it's dumb. I can't. They're horrible movies. I was like, they're great movies. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, I'll rewatch Tenet, but I'm still gonna be like, I'm gonna watch it with fucking subtitles.
That's how I watch all movies.
Actually,
Dude,
I watch everything.
I was gonna say, my friend threw
like,
me onto that where she's just like, I remember I was watching it with her. I was like, why do you have the subtitles on? She's like, because sometimes I miss what they say, and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant.
No, it's true.
It's good.
That's
Yeah.
I mean, I watch a lot of like
Foreign
anime
movies.
in Japanese,
Yeah.
so I definitely. But see, I just I don't hate on the Christopher Nolan movies because of like I tend to avoid that where the general like problems. It's my personal problems, and it's one is that. If Interstellar is a negative, one, he doesn't give a fuck about his son, by the way, who is having his own problem. Casey Affleck. But the other thing is, he's just love is the fucking the answer. Get out of here with that bullshit. You're gonna give me a super science dense fucking movie and then give me the fucking love thing at the end? Come on, come on.
Yeah, I feel like that. No, I like when you put it like that. Okay.
Like I'm on top. I'm with that movie all the way until that part, and I'm like, what is happening here? What is going on?
I feel
Is
like
this what we're doing?
I feel like that was a McConaughey thing.
Maybe.
I don't know why.
Maybe.
But it
Dad,
worked.
you were my ghost. Oh my God, Dad, it's me, Bobby Hill. You were my the whole time, Dad.
It's
worked. Me, Murph.
It worked. Actually, I'm sorry. His worst movie.
What's his worst movie?
Insomnia. Do you even know that one?
Pacino? Was that the Pacino one?
Yeah, Pacino Williams.
Oh yeah, that was a weird. Yeah,
It
Al
wasn't.
Pacino definitely phoned that one in. That wasn't the worst movie,
Yeah.
but Al Pacino made it worse. But Robin Williams saved it to a degree.
Well, Robin
Robin
Williams is
Williams went
so
on like a
fucking
little
good.
streak of like thrillers that he was like doing some weird shit
You
in.
know the
Like
one
I
that
really like that.
the one that I don't think people shit on all the time, but I think he doesn't get enough credit is oh my god, 1 hour photo.
Yeah,
I
that
actually
one was
really liked
crazy.
1 hour photo. Yeah,
That one was crazy. You know, he was in like an episode of Law and Order SVU, and it was like along those lines too. He was doing some crazy shit.
he's good, man. He was
He's
probably
great.
the most
You know
versatile
he was great
actor.
because he killed himself. All the fucking greatest killed themselves.
Philip Seymour
It's
Hoffman.
true. Well, he did that. I think he did that on accident.
But he did no, he was killing himself, and he was taking drugs, man.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe he was like, maybe, but I mean, maybe I don't know. But it's a lot less direct than the way that Robin did it, and
Well, yeah.
Kurt did
Well,
it, or
Robin was well, Kurt. Well, hold on, that's still debatable. That's still we don't know yet.
what do you mean it's debatable? He put a goddamn
Did
gun
you
in his
did
mouth.
you need to watch the documentary by Nick Broomfield called Courtney and Kurt or Kurt and Courtney?
Hmm.
Check that out and tell me you still think he killed himself.
Okay. I mean,
All
okay, fair
everybody
enough.
everybody out there that's listening to this, check out the Nick Broomfield documentary on Courtney and Kurt Cobain, and then in the comments
Mm.
tell me what you think.
And you know what? If you're feeling sad or down, find somebody to call and talk to, because you know what? You don't know what the fuck happens after this. What if you die and your soul goes into like a giant monster's mouth and swallows you whole, and it's over. So that, live it out. It may suck now. Keep going at it. But you know what? You keep coming back and we'll keep taking care of you. So thanks for coming in today. Thanks for listening. Stay safe. Don't kill yourself.